Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm super excited today because after 2 years and 30,000 shots, I'm finally doing my review on the Mevo Plus. Now, the first thing I always start off with is accuracy, because that to me is the most important thing when you're buying a simulator. What you see on the simulator is that what you get on the course. And I can tell you without a doubt, yes, it is. This device is incredibly accurate, and you won't believe the amount of people I've had over who are shocked at just how accurate a device that is around $2,000 is. Now, if you follow my GolfBusters Extra channel, I have done deep dive reviews on accuracy for a bunch of different devices, and we're gonna go over how well the Mevo Plus did during that accuracy test. Now, when I do these deep dive reviews, I break it down into 3 categories: green, yellow, or red. Green would be, yup, that shot is spot on. It's within a yard or 2 of what I would expect on the course. I have no second guesses. I believe that is correct. If it falls into the yellow category, that means I think it might be slightly off, but in general, a few of these are actually okay. And then it falls into the red category if I think it is a gross overread or underread. So if I was to hit 100 shots with the Mevo Plus, from my findings, 92 out of 100 would be that green light. And I would say, yep, that is 100% spot on to what I would expect on the course. 6 of those shots, I would be like, it might be slightly off. Now, don't stress when I say slightly off. Usually slightly off for me is like, I think it went 140, it ended up going 146. And for me, having 6 shots out of 100 in that category is a totally acceptable number. It could even mean it's 98 out of 100. And then I had 2 shots that I thought were overreads. Now, again, these were not terrible, but they were probably over 10 yards long of what I thought. Now let's break that down into each of our club categories. Now the good news is for driver, irons, woods, I thought it was spot on. I only had 1 shot in the yellow category, 0 in the red, and all the rest were in the green. And that is thanks to the new updates the Mevo Plus has been doing and the Titleist RCT Balls, which you can see over here. That is a special ball that is built for the Mevo Plus simulator that helps read the spin correctly. And since that update, driver and woods have been spot on. If I had to say what is the best of that category, I would probably say irons, but the driver has been reading incredibly well since that update. Now, where did it fall a little bit short? On wedges, when I tested my wedges, that is where I was a little bit unsure at times. Out of 30 shots, I had 24 in the green. I had 4 that I thought maybe were 3 to 4 yards long of what I thought, maybe 5 yards long. And then I had 2, I would say, wedge shots that I thought went, let's say, 50 yards, and they went 60. Now, again, you take that information and do what you think. But I can tell you from testing out other simulators in the price range, that accuracy breakdown is the best that I've tested so far. Now, I just got done telling you how accurate the Mevo Plus is, but one of the things that's a little bit different about the Mevo is the setup process is incredibly important. For some of the other devices, you can kind of just set it down and it's pretty much good to go. The Mevo is very particular, but when you get the setup correct, it is spot on. So for my setup, I have a red stand that is basically screwed into the ground so that I can get in the same spot every time. If you are in an environment where you need to continually move it in and out, then I would try to mark some tape on the floor and make sure you're putting it at that same spot every time. Now, one of the downsides to the Mevo Plus is the space constraint, but that is also one of the good things. So let me explain that. With the Mevo Plus, you need 18 feet of depth. Other devices, you don't need that much depth. The unit sits right by you. But what is the benefit of it sitting back there? Well, it allows lefties to play with you. So for instance, I'm a lefty, so when I bought my first simulator device, the Mevo Plus was really the only option that allowed lefties and righties unless you wanted to spend 10 grand. So if you have lefties over regularly, you're gonna want the Mevo Plus because you're not gonna wanna have to move your SkyTrack, your Unicore every single time you use it, which can be very annoying. So even though it sits a little farther back, it takes a little more room, it allows you to play with lefties, and it kind of keeps it out of the way for golfers that could shank their ball into your device. And if I was to give a time how long it takes me to set this device up from start to finish, I would say it takes 2 minutes for me to set this up, and it would probably go quicker if I left this on the floor, but I don't because I have a toddler. Now let's move on to the most important piece. If you are gonna get the Mevo Plus, get the Titleist RCT balls. Now, yes, they are expensive, but they last a very long time. I would say a normal person could buy one box and have that last the entire year. And these are so important because it helps the clubs be so much more accurate. So if you're gonna spend $2,000 on the Mevo Plus, then make sure you spend a little extra and get the RCT balls. Trust me, it will be a huge benefit. Now, speaking of $2,000, let's get into the total price of the Mevo Plus because there are a lot of options. Now, the base Mevo Plus usually hovers around $2,000, and again, you can use code GolfBusters10 in our link below to take even more off of that. Now, the good part is if you buy nothing else, the Mevo Plus is still just as accurate than if you were to purchase like the Pro package or Face Impact. Those upgrades don't change the accuracy readings, but they provide benefits elsewhere. Now, I will tell you, I don't think you will find a professional grade simulator for a better price than the Mevo Plus at $1,800. Now, when you get those package add-ons, then it becomes kind of the same price of the other units like the Skytrack and the Unicore. Now, what are those packages? It's the Pro package and Face Impact. Now, I have done a whole video on the Pro package. I'll link that above, but the Pro package for me it's a must buy. It's around $800 with our discount code, and it is instant feedback for you to get better in your game. Now, with the Mevo Plus and the Pro package, you're looking at about $2,700. Then there's another add-on called Face Impact, and what that does, it tells you where the ball impacted your club face at impact. Now, this is something that I have, but the only thing with that is it takes a certain lighting setup. So you need some flicker-free LED lights. And for me, it would probably cost me $300 on a day of setup to get that to work. So I haven't taken the extra time to do that. Now, what I say for Face Impact, it is a great add-on, but it's something where if you have the time, you have the good flicker-free lighting, and you have a little extra cash, that is something that I would buy. But if you're a little tight on your simulator budget, that is something I would consider waiting for later, and the Pro package is something that I would say is a must buy, but not a necessity. Now, the good news with the Mevo Plus is there is basically no subscriptions. Every other simulator device has some sort of subscription fee to get you to use the device. The Mevo Plus does not. It comes with E6 courses on iOS, so if you want, you can play on your iPad, iPhone, and you don't have to spend any extra money. But if you're someone who uses a PC, then you're gonna have to buy a program regardless, whether that's... Hey guys, I was actually wrong on this part. It comes with 10 free E6 courses for PC as well. So you can play for free whether it's PC or iOS. But this next part, I'm gonna talk about GSPRO, which if you wanna get more courses and the most realistic golf experience, it's something I totally recommend. Now, for me, I am telling you guys, if you've done no research, GSPRO is the way to go. It is by far the cheapest. It is a small team of developers, but they are super dedicated, and it's around $250 a year for the best, most realistic golf simulator experience. So if you want to do everything as good as possible to make the Mevo Plus as good as it can be, then you're gonna wanna get GSPRO, which is $250 a year. Now, speaking of battery, let's talk about the battery of the Mevo Plus. The 2023 version is 3 hours long. Now, for me, I always use an external battery pack. 3 hours is just enough where, yeah, I could use it without the battery pack, but I like to use the external battery pack. Now, a quick tip for that is you need to make sure you are using the cord provided. That is an absolute must, and the right battery pack. I'm gonna link a battery pack I use below, and then just make sure you always use the cord it came with. And what I would do is mark that or tape that off in a way so you know it's the Mevo Plus cord, because I think if you use a different one, it could potentially mess up the battery. Now, next, let's talk about taking this to the range. One of the benefits of the Mevo Plus is you can use it on your simulator, extremely accurate, and you can take it to the range. And the best part is at the range, it's actually more accurate because it's reading the entire ball flight. These really are built for outdoors, also do an incredible job indoors with the RCT update. Now, what I would say about taking it to the range, I really don't do that too much unless I'm gonna be at the range for more than an hour. It takes a little bit to set the Mevo Plus up, and like I said, getting that 8 feet to ball exactly and the tilt and roll correct, that's very important, even at the driving range. Now let's talk about responsiveness. From strike of the ball to appearance on the screen, how responsive is the Mevo Plus? And the main reason we're talking about this is because the Skytrack, the older one, has had issues with that. Now I can tell you with the Mevo Plus and the SkyTrack Plus, it's hardly a delay. I hardly notice it. And honestly, for SkyTrack Plus or Mevo Plus, it's not something I would worry about. But if I had to give the winner to one, it would be the Mevo Plus. Now I talked about this a little bit earlier, but where the Mevo Plus really shines is the ability to allow lefties and righties to play at the same time. SkyTrack Plus, Unicore, Bushnell, all those monitors you set right next to you, can you pick it up and move it for lefties and righties? Yes, of course you can, but it's a pain in the butt and you don't want to do it. Now we're going to talk about kids here. If you got young kids, Mevo Plus is a go-to for me because I can hide it kind of under that table and the kids don't mess with it. When my 3-year-old starts playing golf, I would be worried if I was using like a SkyTrack or Unicore that he would hit it with his club or just move it out of the way. And I don't have that issue with the Mevo Plus because it is kind of hidden under the table and he doesn't go towards it. Now finally, let's talk about some quirks of the Mevo. Whatever launch monitor you get, usually there's some little setup tricks you're going to have to do to get it to read the most accurate. Now the only real quirk I have with the Mevo is chipping. If you are chipping under 20 yards, it can have trouble reading the chip. Now, one of the reasons I recommend GSPRO is because it allows you to change where that ball is going to be placed relative to the Mevo in the settings. So the reason GSPRO is so great is I know that chipping reads extremely accurate on the Mevo Plus if it is 5 feet away. And I get no misreads and can hit really, really short chips really well, which is a struggle for a lot of units. Now, that wraps it up for the Mevo Plus review. I'm telling you guys, if you're interested in buying this, you will not be disappointed. I have loved this device for 2 years. It has brought me so much joy. I have friends over here all the time, probably 5 or 6 nights a week in the winter, because everyone loves to come play here. Now, if they weren't comfortable in how accurate this device is, they would be less apt to come over if they didn't think they were getting accurate readings. So the fact that we have people over 5, 6 nights a week and they always want to come over shows you, 1, how much fun they have, but 2, how accurate they think the device is, that they're willing to come over here and continually hit on it because they know it is great for their game. So if you enjoyed the video, hit the subscribe button and we'll see you in the next one.